You want to do stuff where your future self thanks you. My future self will thank me for doing it, which is why kind of got me across the line with the last self. It's like, fuck it, I'm just never going to get this chance again, because they're starting to get to prices where it's just beyond my ability to do so. And by the time my ability to do so, because the crypto market's has gone up, well, the super rich in crypto have gone up even more. And so the prices of these bloody things just keeps going.
In this powerful reflection, Raoul shares why he believes digital assets, especially NFTs, are at the core of a once-in-a-generation transformation. As traditional financial opportunities slip beyond reach, crypto offers a fresh path forward, not just for wealth, but for cultural identity. Raoul speaks candidly about making bold decisions today that your future self will thank you for tomorrow. He discusses why we're still early in this revolution and how digital communities, innovation, and scarcity are redefining what it means to invest long-term. If you've ever questioned where this space is headed or whether it's too late to join, this narration delivers clarity. Let's unpack Raoul's thesis, backed by experience, conviction, and the belief that we are on the brink of something much larger than anyone realizes.
So what you've got is that moment, like all of these hedge fund managers, the Soroses and those guys, they all got together, but they were just money. But imagine applying money to culture. A cultural bomb like what happened in London in the 90s or in the early 60s or California in the 70s. You know, these are cultural bombs that change everything. Imagine applying money to that, where you can actually make money from it. That is like, oh my God, this is much bigger. It's much bigger. Just people don't understand it yet. People are beaten up about the space because of the amount of issuance of copycat projects that all went to zero and everybody not being able to afford their roadmap and then it all falling apart. And people are so scarred by that. But this space is so good because it's all about experimentation. And what you get is out of the ashes rises the phoenix. And what you can see is what projects were going to survive and therefore start to thrive. And there were, you know, the artists that I mentioned before, the communities, Meebits, Crypto Dick Butts, probably Rec Guy, probably MFers. You know, I don't think they're in the same league. They're probably a league lower than Meebits and Dick Butts. And, you know, you can see these things still retain value and passion, so attention. And usually I love the second cycle trade. The second cycle trade is the best trade. So that's like Solana goes up first cycle, second cycle it gets battle tested, it has Lindy effects, it survives, people remain on chain, activity remains on chain. That buy you're going to make a lot of money from, and it's been de-risked. That was the same with NFTs. That's when I started buying Xcopy and Beeple. I'm like, I know these aren't going away, and so therefore I'll use that second cycle dip. And I think we're still seeing the emergence of this. I think Mickey buying punks was a big deal as well. And what we are cementing is we've separated the wheat from the chaff, and we're cementing what is going to drive the future here. And then new innovation will come and new ideas and stuff like that. We will have to go through that cycle with memes as well. Yes, we've tested them with Doge and stuff like that, but not at this scale. By the time we're speaking again in 4 years' time, everyone will be like, I fucking hate memes. And somewhere out of memes will come a big idea, whether it's capital formation or whatever it is. That's how we test stuff in crypto. It's fascinating. But when you've got a thesis and you're only 3% there, which is how big crypto is going to be, you have to give a period of time. And for the world to appreciate that this art is the art of the new generation, and this new generation is going to be gazillionaires. So it has to play out over time. And so how I think of it and how I've been doing it is forcing myself to scrape excess savings out of my crypto exposure and putting it into something long-term. It's like a long-term 401k. And I know that in 10, 15 years' time, that stuff's going to be stupid valuable. And my future self will thank me today. That you want to do stuff where your future self thanks you. My future self will thank me for doing it, which is why kind of got me across the line with the last self. It's like, fuck it, I'm just never going to get this chance again, because they're starting to get to prices where it's just beyond my ability to do so. And by the time my ability to do so, because the crypto market's has gone up, well, the super rich in crypto have gone up even more. And so the prices of these bloody things just keeps going. because, you know, the guy who bought the first Xcopy and had like $1 million in crypto because they were trading at like 20 grand or 15 grand or 10 grand or 5 grand or whatever the number was, they're now worth 100 million. So they're paying 20 million for a Xcopy. And by the time that they're worth $1 billion, they're paying 200 million for an X. It's like, it's never ending. So I just knew, kind of talking to you, it was like, do I take out a loan to do this? I don't like doing that. It's just in the end, it's like, fuck it, I just have to do it. Because I knew as a long-term bet, we're going to get the kicker from the ETH price over time. And in fact, it was you explained this with punks. It took me a while to understand this, and most people still don't understand this fundamental point. You have to really be a finance person to get it first off. It's a call option on the price of ETH, because as the price of ETH goes up from, let's say, where we are today, call it 2,500, let's say it goes to 10,000, ETH goes up 4x. If your Meebits stays at the same price, you still make the ETH gain. But chances are in a bull market, people recycle it into quality projects, and the price in ETH goes up. So you get this double multiplier, which is why so many people made so much money out of the NFT season last time. So if I'm thinking about it in terms of a long-term store of wealth, we know crypto's going up over time. Well, this is upstream of everything. It will outperform crypto because the more money there is piling into the most scarce assets of all, call it an Xcopy one of one, the ultimate scarce asset. Well, what is the price of that? It's kind of infinite. And so I built on that and then broadened out a lot from that.
At the center of Raoul Pal's perspective is a bold realization. Crypto is not just a financial system, but a cultural shift with exponential potential. He compares today's NFT market to early hedge fund capital in the 1960s. Except this time, it's money applied to culture. Raoul emphasizes the second cycle trade, where projects like Solana, Xcopy art, and CryptoPunks not only survive but thrive, creating de-risked, high-upside opportunities. He explains how NFTs can offer a unique double upside, price appreciation in ETH and rising ETH itself, multiplying long-term gains. Raoul underscores how scarcity, community trust, and cultural relevance, seen in projects like Meebits, Crypto Dickbutts, and Wreck Guy, form the foundation of this evolving market. He views NFTs and digital assets as digital savings accounts or 401ks for the future. These aren't just internet trends. They're long-term, identity-driven bets that smart money is already making. In Raoul's view, the smart investor today isn't trading memes. They're owning digital history.
You can appreciate art and spend money, and you can buy stuff really cheap, and it doesn't matter if it goes up or not. But if you're trying to financialize it, which is make money from the opportunity as well, okay, it's harder. And it's like meme coins, right? If I look at the art market, there's tons of potentially great artists. I don't know how. So you need to get signal from noise. Now, whether that's joining a community where people discuss this stuff and you can learn and absorb, or whether it's following just the kind of attention you see online, that's usually where I get it from. It's just what kind of attention, who's following it, and not in a way of promoting something new. That generally doesn't work. But it's like, if it is an artist that is inexpensive or a project that's inexpensive, who's following it? Like Crypto Dickbutts was a big one for me because it was cheap. It was 0.3 ETH. Yet everybody I knew who was an OG in the space owned a Dickbutt. It's like a rite of passage. I'm like, how the fuck can that be worth 0.3 ETH? That makes no sense. And there's only 5,600 of the things. So, you know, you got to look around for those kinds of opportunities. Now, everything is getting more expensive. So we're losing the ability to find stuff, you know, to build a broader base of this stuff. But, you know, at the low end of the range, there are stuff like MFers. There are still opportunities in Meebits. There are opportunities in Wreck Guide. There's a few of these around, the kind of PFP style communities that are interesting. What Ovi is doing with Rex is interesting. What you're doing with Meebits is really interesting. MFers, nobody's going to do anything with because MFers do what they want. But, you know, but they're cultural artifacts. That's my point. These are cultural artifacts and will always be relevant to somebody. And we will all remember them. So look for that. The art side, way more difficult. Now, some of these, you know, I mean, you would argue that Meebits are art, and I know Jack Butcher argues that CryptoPunks as a whole is basically a fractionalized piece of art worth $1 billion. I don't disagree with any of that. where you get an entry into art is really difficult. But art is hard anyway. Even if you've got money, trying to buy art is terrifying. I mean, when you listen to 6529 and his story of trying to buy a Warhol, it was just awful. And realizing he's paid a 50% bid offer spread to the gallery and all of the things. It's not easy. So start with community and then observe, I think. But the fact is blockchain allows digital scarcity that didn't exist before. You have an ability to make money out of it. The entry price is probably a bit higher. But if you've amassed 10 ETH, you can do some interesting stuff with 10 ETH. You can build a decent portfolio of interesting projects that have a high probability of going up over time. And that's a long-term savings. I think of it like a house. If these are scarce and they're relevant, they'll be super interesting. And then there's a lot of really interesting stuff going on with art, AI, photography, just AI stuff, real-time stuff. And then people don't yet see and they don't yet understand that all of this is going to bleed into our internet experience, which will end up being a VR, AR, whatever experience. And this is going to be part of us. How we will appreciate digital art in the future will not be a picture on a wall. That is so outdated. Yes, we've got the white walls experience where we can see, moving art on screen, but where it's going is hologram. Of course it is. Now, whether it's hologram in our room or it's hologram via VR, AR, and everyone says, well, that's not likely. And I explain to people that ABBA have been on tour for 2 years as holograms. Kiss are going to go on tour as holograms. So the technology's there. So imagine having a Kim Asendorf, incredible digital thing that you can move and stuff that's a hologram that sits in your lounge. Okay, that's cool as shit. But then also it becomes, where does the separation between real and digital happen? And I think you can sense that with Meebits as well, is that characters can move around, can be different things to different people, and they can represent ourselves in this metaversal experience. Again, metaverse, term everyone thinks is terrible. It may be called something different. It probably won't be, but it will be back, and we will be living in it in more ways than we yet understand. I mean, I love the Meebits game you had recently because it brings to life characters in a way that they become us and we become them. And the advent of AI, they kind of we're all become one thing.
As Raoul Pal concludes, he paints a vivid picture of the future, one where blockchain enables true digital scarcity and NFTs evolve into holographic experiences in our homes. This isn't fantasy. It's already happening. He cites examples like ABBA and Kiss touring as holograms to show how digital and real-world art are merging. Raoul urges listeners to stop thinking of NFTs as just JPEGs and start seeing them as cultural artifacts, symbols of this generation's identity. From Meebits as avatars to AI-driven collectibles, digital ownership is evolving fast. For those building now, the window is narrowing. But for those paying attention, even small portfolios and culturally strong assets can be meaningful. As Raoul puts it, it's about scraping together excess savings and converting them into future-proof bets. In this new financial era where art, identity, and investment intersect, your best move might be one your future self will thank you for. The time is now.